Hi, everybody. Looks like a happy crowd.
It's 5 o'clock.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks.
Hello, Alexandra.
How are you guys doing today?
Hey.
Hi, great.
Happy 2021. Let me just, if it is okay with you guys, I will wait like 2 more minutes to see who else joins because I need to admit people into the room and then we can start, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Alexandra.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'm going to have to leave a little early.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But as you know, Ruth, we record the meeting.
Okay.
So after we finish the meeting and I receive from Zoom the recording, I will upload the video in Schoology. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Be available
I-
for Schoology to watch
okay.
it again.
I have the same situation.
Yeah, that's fine, Peggy. So again, like
Got it.
tomorrow afternoon, you will have the video uploaded in Schoology.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's start. So thanks again for being here today. I believe that you received an email from Ruth reminding about the session Tutor time. And the session today, the topic is pronunciation. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So I have a presentation and let me start sharing my screen with you. Okay. So as I have said before in previous meetings, so when I am presenting or sharing my screen, I need to minimize all the like your pictures, so I don't see if you are like raising your hand. So if you need to ask me something, please unmute yourself and just ask me the question, okay? Because I cannot see your faces when I'm sharing the screen. Okay, so let's begin. So today we are going to talk about teaching pronunciation to English language learners and why it is important to include pronunciation in our lessons. So according to those people who study all the process of learning a language and specifically pronunciation, they said that there is a threshold level that non-native speakers of English have to obtain. And if their pronunciation abilities stay below that level, they will have verbal communication problems. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they know lots and lots of grammar or their vocabulary is really wide. But if they don't have those pronunciation abilities, right, they don't surpass that threshold, they will always have trouble being understood. So based on that advice that they share, it is important for all of us to know that we need to keep in mind and also to tell our students that it is important to focus on intelligibility instead of accent reduction. So I believe that you have the experience with your students, maybe, yes, like, because I know many students say that they just they want to get rid of their accent, right? And that's how they think about improving pronunciation, like getting rid of their accent. So it is important to let them know that we don't need to get rid of our accents, right? Our accents identify, like, tell people where we are coming from. So there is no need to get rid of that. It is important for us to focus on intelligibility. And this way people can understand when we are saying something in English. So when we talk about pronunciation, it is important to focus on three different factors, and those are voice quality settings, word stress, and intonation. So today I'm going to share with you information, excuse me, on those three topics, and I will also share some resources at the end of the meeting, okay? So you can watch those videos. So my presentation today, it is not something that I developed. It is something that information that I have learned from, or I have, I have used, and it was developed by Minnesota Literacy Council. They have someone staff who is really good and like offering workshops, and those workshops on pronunciation are excellent resources. So I will be sharing with you parts, like clips from those videos, like talking about these three different factors. And then I will, like I said, this recording will be in Schoology, so you can go to Schoology and watch the video again. And I will also upload in Schoology the links to watch the full videos from Minnesota, okay? So once again, we are going to talk about voice quality settings, word stress, and intonation. So let's begin with the first one. So what voice quality settings are? Voice quality settings refer to the long-term positions and movements of the parts of the body that produce and form speech. So when we talk about voice quality settings, we need to think about our lips, tongue, the jaw, and also the larynx, okay? Each language has its unique and specific voice quality settings. And this is why it is difficult for some people, like based on their native language, to make those sounds in English because of the voice quality settings. So how can we teach? So before that, how we teach, let's think about these two examples. So I have here American English and I have Hmong. So Hmong, it is a family of languages spoken in southern China, northern Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand. So when we talk about that language, Hmong, and we compare it with American English, these are the differences between those voice quality settings. When we talk about American English, if you watch someone speaking English who is an American, we are going to see an open yaw, okay? When you look at people who speak Hmong, the mouth doesn't open widely, okay? Because that's the way they need to make their sounds in their language. So there is no need for the mouth to open, okay? In English, the teeth are always apart, while in Hmong, teeth keep closer together. In American English, the tongue shows a lot, and it is in the front of the mouth, while in Hmong, the tongue is further back, and it doesn't interact with the teeth. In American English, we have mobile lips, while in Hmong, lips are a lot less mobile. So when you look at these differences, and again, this is only with one language, Hmong, right, being compared to American English, you have several differences. This is why some students can make those sounds correctly, and those for some others are really, really difficult to make those sounds. So to talk about this, let me share with you a little bit of this video from Minnesota Literacy Council, where they explain how we can teach our students how to improve their pronunciation based on those voice quality settings. Okay, so let me share the audio from my computer. I'm going to bring it where the parts that I want you to watch it. Okay.
English, if you can change your mouth, if you can make your mouth move differently, if you can make your mouth move like an American, it's easier to make the sounds and it's easier for people to understand you. So that's what we're going to practice today. Today we're going to practice using an American mouth when you are speaking English.
In this next part of the lesson, the learners watch Andrea's mouth as she reads through a list of their weekly vocabulary words. The learners then imitate her mouth movements while looking at their own mouths in mirrors. The automatic kinesthetic feedback that happens during this activity can be much more helpful for learners than auditory feedback.
What is the first word?
Table.
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 Okay, look at my mouth. Table.
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 Okay, now look in your mirror. Table. 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 So you want your mouth to try to look the same as my mouth. One more time. Table. Okay. What's the second word?
Spring.
What is it?
Aspirin.
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 Okay, look at.
So the
Andrea begins to prepare.
first exercise that we can do with our students, it is to use a mirror, right? And then they will imitate your mouth movement. So you are the person who knows how to make the sounds correctly, right? So you are going to show your student how to move the mouth, and then you are going to ask the student to have a mirror, and the student will imitate the movement, okay? So that is the first step. Now let's look at the second step, and it is setting the stage for
Prepare the learners for the final lip reading activity. First, she demonstrates mouthing the vocabulary words while the learners read her lips. Then, the learners practice using their American mouths as they watch themselves mouthing the words in their mirrors. While the learners independently practice mouthing the vocabulary words, Andrea floats around the room, checking the learners' voice quality settings and giving individual feedback as needed.
Now, look at my mouth, and I want you to read my mouth. What do you see?
Toothpaste.
Good.
Toothpaste. Table. Computer. Tipper.
Good.
Okay, so those are two different exercises that we can practice with our students. So how we can put this in practice? So as you would just watch from the video, we can lead the mirroring mouth movement using the vocabulary from the lesson. So you know what vocabulary are you going to present to your student, or the vocabulary that is going to be part of the lesson you are teaching today. So take those words, right, that vocabulary, and you are going to implement these activities using that vocabulary. So many of you have asked us why Ventures doesn't have specific lessons about like practicing pronunciation, right? And now, like with the curriculum that we have developed, we have not created like specific lessons for pronunciation, because we believe that by using these specific activities, we can practice pronunciation for in every single lesson, and it will depend on what you are teaching today. So you will use the vocabulary that you are teaching in your lesson, and then you will use these activities to improve pronunciation. So it is like each lesson will have pronunciation activities included. So mirror the mouth movement using the vocabulary from the lesson. Then you will have your students imitate those movements while they look at themselves at the mirror. And after they have done all of those two exercises, excuse me, then you can have students practice the lip reading with partners if you have like a small group, right? If not, it will be again like you and your student. And then that was like, if like having like pre-COVID or hopefully post-COVID, where we can go and meet again in person. So then you have like students facing to each other, and then they can do the lip reading. But here, through like having like online classes, so you will be the one saying saying the word, right? And then your student will have will do the lip reading. So again, like I said, please include the vocabulary from the lesson into dialogues or role plays activities, and keep reminding the students to be aware of how to use their mouth. So when students we need to teach them like, okay, you need to open your mouth. You need to show your tongue. You need to put your tongue in like in my case, when I was learning English, right? Like in Spanish, we don't have that TH sound. So I have to learn that I had to put my tongue between my teeth and then like kind of blow to make that sound. So it was, for me, it was challenging because I never had to do that while speaking Spanish. So when I looked at myself at the mirror, for me, I looked like stupid, like, what am I doing? But I had to understand this is how you make the sound. And I always thought that like having my tongue between my teeth, it was like if I was like hanging my tongue like when a dog is thirsty. That's what I used to think. And it is like less than a second, right? That your tongue is really doing that. So when you stop thinking about how you look and focus on how to improve the sounds, then it gets better and better. So this is that kind of conversation that you can have with your students, and to tell them, okay, don't be embarrassed. It is okay. It is while you get to that sound, when you get like you are able to make the sound, then you don't even think about it like, oh, how my mouth is moving. We don't need to think about, because okay, we have done it, we have practiced it, and then I am doing it. So like this is the first how can I say, like factor, like to teach our students. So voice quality settings. Again, it is how we move our mouth, and how everything from every part of our body that it is involved in making those sounds need to move in order to pronounce correctly. Now let's look at the second item, which is the word stress. So when we talk about word stress, we emphasize is the emphasis that we place in a specific syllable of a word when pronouncing it. In English words that have more than one syllable, we usually don't pronounce every syllable at the same way. So each syllable in a word can be stressed or unstressed. So when we talk about that syllable that it is stressed, that the vowel in that syllable will be slightly louder, longer, and at a higher speed. And supposedly, all of those three factors should happen when we pronounce that syllable, that stressed syllable. But it doesn't, it is not like, it should happen, but it doesn't really happen all the time. But still, you can notice the difference. So I would like to, talking about like word stress and making like to hear how that sound, I would like to ask for 3 different volunteers. So if you could please unmute your microphone, and then 3 different people, and if you could please read this, one of these words. So one volunteer and read the first word. Could you please? Anyone?
Environment.
Could you please do it again?
Environment.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, could you please somebody else, this word?
Computer.
Computer. And could you please somebody else, the third one?
Government.
So as you can see, we know like which one is a stressed syllable, right? So then we can present words like that. Again, words from the vocabulary that we are going to practice with our students. And then when we say the word to our students, we make that emphasis in that stressed syllable. This is where and how we show our students how they need to pronounce it. Because in our language, like in Spanish, we also have it, right? But in English, it's different for us to know when we are learning the language, which one is a stressed syllable. So how do we learn that? By hearing, by listening to those words that are being pronounced. So when you pronounce the words to your students, focus on that, and then ask the students to determine which one is the syllable that's being stressed. So why is word stress important? It is important because it makes it easier for the listener to understand the message. When the word stress pattern is off, people will hear the wrong word. And in the video that I'm going to watch to show you now, you can see examples of that. So let me share the video with you.
Ali. Found that often people will hear a completely different word. So for example, they did a study where they had someone who is a non-native speaker of English said the word suitable. They meant to say the word suitable, but they pronounced it suitable, and the listener heard the level. Or they meant to say the word written, and they pronounced it written, and the listener heard retain. Or my favorite, the intended word was normally, and it was pronounced normally, and the listener heard no money.
Normally.
So you can see that word stress pattern is really, really important and can actually override the sounds, including the vowel sounds, and what the person hears, the listener hears.
So that video, those examples show you the importance of word stress, right? And if we are not told or taught where the stress is, then we are going to pronounce the words like the way we think they are pronounced, and then that's why people don't understand when we are speaking. So how can you teach word stress to your students? So first, it is important to teach our students how to count syllables, because when they know how to count syllables, they know which one is the syllable that is the stressed one. So how do we teach students to count syllables? We can teach them by tapping each syllable, or we can teach them to clap each syllable. Also, that we can do like finger counting, okay? So again, use the words from the vocabulary list that you are going to practice in your lesson, and then help students to identify how many syllables each of those words have. So when they feel comfortable counting the number of syllables, then they can identify which one is a stressed syllable because by hearing you, by listening to you pronouncing the word, they can know which one they can hear, and they can identify which one is a stressed one. But it is important that you always allow students to have lots and lots of activities that they are controlled. So meaning it is you are paying attention to what they are doing, right? You are reviewing that what they are doing, it is correct. So, and then after that, you offer the feedback, and then you will allow the students to do more communicative activities. So where they can do more of their exercises by themselves. If they are working with some other, like with partners, right? If you have a small group, then you can allow them, okay, now you guys do the exercise, right? Identify the stress syllable. If it is one student working with you, it will always be like a controlled activity because you are there focused on what they are doing. You can also teach stress syllables by showing students to like hum the word stress. So let's talk about students who are pre-literate, non-literate, right? So it is difficult for us to present them with words if they don't know how to read or write it yet, right? So how you are going to show them, okay, how many syllables, and then which one is a stress syllable? So if you just hum the word stress, so let's say if I'm going to say that one, provider, right? So I am not going to say to my student provider, because again, we have letters there that they don't recognize yet. What about if we just said, right? So we hum the words, right? And the stress, and then we can just make similar sounds. So take words, but you are not going to pronounce the word. You are just going to make the sound, right? Hum the word stress. And then that helps that student who is pre-literate or illiterate, non-literate, to identify the word stress. You can also have students, again, if they know like the letters, right? You can have students to identify words that have the same or different word stress. So if we have provider, banana, right? So you say the two words, and then you ask students, okay, are those the same or are those different? You have provider and you have watermelon. So you ask them, are those the same? Are those different? Again, using the vocabulary from the lesson that you are teaching. You can also have students to stand up or to raise their hand when they hear the stressed part of the word, the stressed syllable. You can also use a rubber band. So when you take a rubber band and you show them how, like, you stretch the rubber band when you hear the stress syllable. This one is a very good activity because it involves students moving their mouth, right? So it helps those like who need that kind of exercise. But it is important for us to really focus on which one that when they are stretching the rubber band, because it seems like if you have like a group of students and then they just like keep stretching the rubber band, but it is not like they are not doing it with the stress syllable. It is like doing it slowly. Okay, so like there, right? So, but they do it at the same time and focusing on the stress syllable.
Buddy, buddy, buddy.
Okay, so that is word stress. And now let me talk about the last part. So for the last part, we have intonation. And when we talk about intonation, we refer to the rise and fall of the voice in speaking. Intonation is about how we say things rather than what we say, okay? Intonation can be used to signal the difference between a statement and a question. And it can also be used to emphasize or draw attention to certain words, which could completely the meaning of a sentence. So here I have the same sentence written 6 times. But as you can see, there is one word in each sentence that is highlighted, okay? So I would like 6 of you, I would like 6 volunteers each one of you to read one of those sentences and to make emphasis on that word that it is on red. Okay, so to make that intonation. And then after you read that sentence, you are going to share with us what is the meaning of that sentence. So who would like to read number 1, please?
I'll do it.
Please, go ahead.
He isn't flying to Paris tomorrow.
Okay, so when you read that sentence, what you are telling me, why it is important when you say he isn't flying to Paris tomorrow, what is it telling me?
It's talking about the person.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's go with number 2. Who would like to read number 2?
Number 2.
Please.
He isn't flying to Paris tomorrow.
Okay. So what does it make you think when you make the emphasis in isn't?
Well, either he is or he isn't flying. In this case, he is not flying.
Correct. Okay. Who would like to read number 3?
I can do number 3.
Please,
Okay.
Peggy. Peggy?
So, did you say Peggy or Amy?
I mean, I don't know. I just see like it says Tolkien, so I just saw Peggy. So then I'm like, okay,
I'll do it.
That's fine with me.
Okay, he isn't flying to Paris tomorrow, which tells me that's not how he's going to move.
Yes. So he isn't flying. Maybe he's taking the bus. Right?
The boat, yeah.
Okay. What about number 4? Who would like to read number 4?
I'll do it.
Please.
He isn't flying to Paris tomorrow.
Okay. And what does it tell me?
He may not be flying to Paris. He may be flying to London.
Okay. Or maybe he isn't flying to Paris. Maybe he's coming back from Paris, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And then number 5.
Oh, 30.
Who would like to read number 5?
I'll read it, Amy.
Amy, go ahead.
He isn't flying to Paris tomorrow.
Okay, and what does it tell me?
He might be flying to London or the UK, London or Brussels, somewhere else.
Yeah, thanks so much. And number 6,
I'll do it.
please.
He isn't flying to Paris tomorrow.
What does it tell me?
It says he's going another day.
Correct. So if you look at this exercise and you can make according to the level of your student, you can write a sentence that is much simpler than this one. And then you can do the same exercise that we just did. By doing this, you are showing the students why information is important, right? Because depending on what word they put the emphasis on, that's the meaning that they are transmitting. So it is an easy exercise to share with our students. I'm going to share with you now a piece of a video that shows the importance of intonation. And all of these videos that I'm showing, I will share with you, like I will post them in Schoology, okay?
Way back. Is this my car? State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, this is ridiculous! There's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart. Shut up.
Shut up! That's why State Farm is there.
What a day.
With car insurance for when things go wrong.
What a day!
But also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Right, so intonation.
That is a good example of how intonation shows a different story. Okay. Any questions until now? Okay. So how do we teach intonation to our students? So we have different exercises that we can do to show intonation to our students. So we can identify the pauses. So when we have a sentence, right, we are going to show our students like chunks of information from that sentence. Okay, and I will, the piece of the video that I will share with you, show you how to do it. So you have a paragraph, and then you take each sentence, and that each sentence will be like a chunk of information. In each chunk of information, you will have a word that is going to be like the most important word in that chunk of information, and that one is going to be stressed. So when you show that word being the stressed one, right, where the intonation is focusing in that word, is how you show the meaning based on what word is, like, what is the word that you put the emphasis, then that is like the most important word, and based on that word, the meaning is connected to that word. So identify which word in each thought group is stressed. You can imitate movements to help emphasize stress words, because when we talk, we also move our hands, right? We move our body. It's important to show students that the way that we move our hands add emphasis to what we are saying. We also need to show our students to identify raising and falling intonation, so they can see the difference between a question and statement, okay? And discuss the meaning behind the intonation patterns. And then when putting all this together, it will be easier for our students to be. So let me show you a little bit of the video that explains part of this.
Happening! This can't be.
First, look at your handout. Do you see how there are lines? Yeah? We'll call these chunks, okay? Chunks. Strangers is a chunk. They are everywhere is a chunk, okay? A chunk, okay? Every chunk in English has a super strong word, okay? A super strong word. And right now, let's listen to each chunk and listen for the strong word, okay? Does everyone have a highlighter? Highlight the strong word in the chunk. First chunk is strangers, right? There's only one word. So which word will we highlight? Strangers, right. So go ahead and highlight strangers. Strangers. Okay. Now they are everywhere. One word is strong. Let's listen. They are everywhere.
Everywhere.
You think everywhere? Yes. So highlight everywhere. Why do we have those strong words? How does it help us communicate? It emphasizes something. Right. Why do I want to emphasize? Why do I want to make something strong? So someone can understand better.
Yeah, because definition means understand what kind of word.
Yeah. What does she think is important? If you look at what's highlighted.
Learn something new.
Say that again?
Learn something new.
Okay. So, like I said, I will share those videos with you. Let me stop sharing my screen. So I will share those videos with you so you can watch the whole presentation for Andrea. She's from the Literacy Council. But again, like I said at the beginning, it is important to show our students and to explain to them those three different points: voice quality settings, word stress, and intonation. When students realize that those three different things exist and they need to put it in practice, they can improve the pronunciation, and it's going to be easier for people to understand them. When we tell them that intonation is important, they will know sometimes people say like they feel like, oh, like she's so rude while speaking or asking for something. And it is because students don't realize that maybe in their language, the way their intonation works is different than in English. And then if I said, for example, can I have a pen? If I say like that, can I have a pen? And then you will see like, oh, what's wrong with her? She's mad. Instead of, can I have a pen? It is a big difference. We need to explain that to our students, okay? So let's help our students and put this in practice. And we will see that students will start getting better and better with intonation. Just with, I believe like the voice quality settings, it is so important because we don't realize how different languages are and how like the big job that our mouth has in each language, that if we don't try to make those sounds and to move our mouth accordingly, then we are not going to make those sounds properly. So even that like students will feel embarrassed because it looks, yes, like I am doing something stupid. Tell them that it is not like that they need to go through that process to teach their mouth to move like an American mouth, like they said in the video, and it will be easier for them. So to watch, so if you want, let me share this again with you. So here I have some resources. So when you go to these websites, you will find lots and lots of information on like teaching pronunciation. So this website, Atlas, it is where you find some of the videos. So if you go, so the website is this one. When you go to resources, and then you can just type here pronunciation. Oops. You will have lots of resources. So like here, you have the video from voice quality settings. Okay, so you have lots of resources for pronunciation. Okay. There is also the Minnesota YouTube channel. So when you go to their page, their channel in YouTube, you can subscribe. Like you click here, it will show like in red, I believe. I subscribe, I follow them. So I subscribe it to their channel. So when you go to their website, you can go here to the search bar, and then you type pronunciation. And you have lots of videos. Okay, look like for beginning level activity. So you have lots and lots of exercises for pronunciation. Okay, and there is something that is so there is the color vowel chart is another technique to teach pronunciation. It is a very good technique. Our website. So, and you can watch all the explanation from the color vowel chart, like in this video. There is a website, the color vowel chart. So again, I do believe it is a very good resource. However, the color vowel chart relies on memory. They identify, they match each sound to a color. So you have to remember, you have to memorize that. So what sound matches what color? And if we have students who have dyslexia, for example, they cannot rely on memory. So it would be tricky for them to use the color vowel chart, okay? So, but I'm not, I mean, it is an extremely good resource. Like I used that before and it is very good, but we need to make sure that like, who are we using this resource with? Because like I said, it relies on memory. Okay, so that is what I had. So questions?
I have a question.
Please, Carol.
My student is from Peru and she cannot say certain words like a hard G in the word suggest.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I should just let it go. I mean, I don't want to embarrass her. And maybe there's just different ways people's tongues are that don't say the same, I don't know what to do about that.
So there are, like again, like some sounds are difficult for some people, right? What I would like to say is, when you hear your students saying that word, and because you know how the sound is, right? Does it make it so impossible to understand what she's saying? Or can you understand what she's saying? Because if it is like, okay, you cannot understand what she's saying, then you need to work on that and you need to make her repeat and repeat and repeat as much as like she gets as close as possible to the correct pronunciation. But if the pronunciation doesn't impede communication, like, okay, you understand what she's saying, just it is not the pronunciation as it would sound coming from you, right? Then I would let it go. And I'm saying this because you guys have, and I have said this many times, you guys have heard me for a long time, right? And you can hear my pronunciation. And when I speak, I know that you can say like, okay, that sound, it is not like that, right? But still I can communicate and I can get my message through, right? So do I need to make it perfect? No, I don't. Do I need to make myself like people understand me? Yes, that's what I need to happen, that people understand what I am saying. Is my sound perfect? No, it is not. Perfection doesn't exist. So it is like, think about when you hear your student talking, can you understand what your student is saying? If you can understand what your student is saying, let it be, right? If you feel like, okay, I don't want to embarrass her, I will say, okay, try again. Okay, it is like this, and make the sound again. But if it is not that impossible to understand her, do not press too much that maybe she's going to feel like embarrassed. Okay. Any other question?
I had a quick question. I've had two students, both from China, and they make the exact same, they have the exact same pronunciation problems. You haven't come across any sort of guides for pronunciation for people from a specific country with a particular native language that might help in a case like this, since they all seem to have the same basic problem with English pronunciation. Thanks.
Of course, and I mean, I don't want to sound lazy, but like Google is everything right now, right? So, but each language has specific troubles or struggles while speaking English. Like for me, Spanish speaker, I have trouble, we have trouble with TH because we don't have that sound. We have trouble differentiating between B and V, right? When we talk about students from China, right, I understand that they have trouble with sounds like R and L sounds. They don't have them. So we need to teach them those sounds. So how do we teach those sounds? We need to teach those voice quality settings because that is a lot of movement involved. And this is why it is difficult for them to pronounce them because they don't have the sound. And if you don't have the sound, you have never made the sound, you need to be taught how to make the sound. So then teach them, and it is a lot of repetition. It is a lot of from you like show me in your mouth. And yes, you have to like overact, how can I say that? I don't know, like move your mouth. You teaching, you have to open your mouth and show them so they can see from you what is involved in that movement. And then ask them to have a mirror, okay? And look at it. So look at me and then look at you. Are you doing the same? If not, try it as much as you can to make it as the way I'm doing. But yes, there are specific, if I Google difficult sounds for Chinese, difficult sounds in English for Chinese speakers, you will get that information. I mean, again, I don't think like I'm being lazy, like I cannot give you the results right now. But I believe like I will put that in my to-do list to create a list of that, and then I will upload that in Schoology.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Andrea.
Yeah, it's pretty common to put the in front of an S word or an ST word. So as she's reading, she'll say S student, even though there's no E.
That is for us Spanish speakers, we do that.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We put and it is, so why that is important for that, it is important to teach them like words, like when we are teaching them how to count syllables, put words that start with S, like student, right? So when you ask them, okay, how many syllables does it have? They are going to tell you an extra syllable because they are making that S student.
But
right?
you know what's interesting is that when it's just the word, it's not a problem. But if we're reading, she's reading aloud a paragraph or a sentence, then it comes in.
Because
Yeah, I had that too.
Yeah, because if it is just the word, I focus and I know that how the rule is. And this is what happened. I believe I have shared that with you guys before. We teach them, right? We are teaching them. And as tutors and teachers, we believe sometimes we feel like, okay, what I'm teaching, maybe they are not learning anything. They are. The information is here. But for me as a student, to make it all happen, it's going to take time. So when Andrea, you said, if they said one word, it works, right? But when they're just doing it, it doesn't happen. It's because so many things are happening at the moment that I need to put together. So like, give me a break with that one and do the other one correctly, right? So when they do like that, and if I am focusing on pronunciation, I will say a student, and then the student will say, oh, no, student, right? They know the rules. They know the rules, but it will take time.
Yeah.
Brad, you have a question? You are muted.
Yeah, I'm leaving it. Thank you so much. It's
Thank
very
you so much. Thank you so much. And again, the video will be uploaded in Schoology. Have a good evening. Any other question? No? Did I bore you so much?
No.
You guys are like looking at
It was a really good one, Alexandra.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so
Learned
much.
a lot.
Thank you. I mean, I cannot get credit from that. I just like, I watch, like I said, I admire the job that Minnesota does. They do a really good job. So watching those videos have taught me a lot. So what am I going to invent something that it is already done, right? So it was there. So it is important to keep that in mind, those three different things: voice quality settings, stress, and intonation. And then I can assure you that your students will improve pronunciation.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if there is we don't have more questions, so I let you go. Thank you so much. Once again, the video will be uploaded in Schoology. Thank you so much. Have a good
Okay, fine. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're
Bye-bye.
very welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Night.
Bye.